Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UHS Pathfinder, watching the stars through the main viewing screen. They had been traveling for 3 weeks now, going deeper into space than any human ship had gone before. The mission was simple: find new planets that humans could live on and map safe routes through this part of the galaxy. Jake was a tall man with brown hair and calm blue eyes. He had been a ship captain for 12 years, and this was his biggest mission yet. The Pathfinder was one of the newest exploration ships that Earth had built. It was fast, well-armed, and could travel very far from home. "Captain, we are coming." "Up on the target area," said Lisa Hayes from her position at the navigation station. Lisa was the best navigator in the fleet. She had short red hair and was known for being very careful with her calculations. She never made mistakes when plotting courses through space. "Good work, Lisa. Take us out of jump speed and start scanning the area," Jake said. He walked over to where Tony Rodriguez was working at the engineering station. Tony was a big man, with black hair, who kept all the ship's systems running perfectly. He had been Jake's friend since their days at the Space Academy. "How are we doing on power, Tony?" Jake asked. "All systems are running great, Captain. The new engines are working better than expected. We have enough fuel to stay out here for 2 more months if we need to," Tony replied with a smile. Amy Carter looked up from her communications station. She was young, maybe 25, with blonde hair and green eyes. This was her first deep space mission, but she was very good at her job. "Captain, I'm picking up some strange signals. They're very weak, but they seem to be coming from multiple directions." Jake frowned. "There should not be any signals out here. This area of space was supposed to be empty. No human ships had ever been this far from Earth before. Can you figure out what kind of signals they are?" "I'm trying, sir." They don't match any known human communication patterns, but they're too organized to be natural space noise," Amy said. Adjusting her equipment to get a better reading, Lisa suddenly looked up from her station with excitement. "Captain, you need to see this. My long-range scanners just found something." "Big." Jake walked over to Lisa's station. On her screen was a small object floating in space. It was about the size of a small building and had a strange, smooth shape that looked nothing like human technology. "What do you think it is?" Jake asked. "I'm not sure, but it's definitely artificial. Someone built this thing. The materials don't match anything in our databases," Lisa said, running more scans. Tony joined them at the navigation station. "Should we go take a look at it?" Jake thought for a moment. This was exactly the kind of discovery that exploration missions were meant to find. But it could also be dangerous. They were very far from any help if something went wrong. "Amy, are you still picking up those signals?" he asked. "Yes. Actually, they're getting stronger as we get closer to that object," Amy replied. "Oh, right, we're going to investigate." "Lisa, plot a course to that object. Keep us at a safe distance until we know more about it. Tony, make sure all our defensive systems are ready. Amy, keep monitoring those signals and let me know if anything changes." The Pathfinder moved slowly toward the strange object. As they got closer, they could see it was covered in symbols and markings that looked very old. The object was dark metal with parts that seemed to glow with a soft blue light. "Captain, I'm getting some readings that don't make sense," Lisa said, looking confused at her instruments. "This thing is old." "Really old? My scanners say it could be thousands of years old." "But it's still sending out signals," Amy added. "Whatever power source it has, it's still working after all this time." Jake stared at the object on the screen. Finding any alien technology was big news. Finding alien technology that was still working after thousands of years was incredible. "Can we bring it aboard?" he asked Tony. "It's small enough to fit in cargo bay 2. I can use the tractor beam to pull it in." "But Captain, we don't know what it might do once it's inside our ship," Tony said with concern. "You're right to be careful. Let's try something else first. Amy, can you try to communicate with it? Send a simple mathematical sequence and see if it responds." Amy worked at her station for several minutes. She sent out basic number patterns that any intelligent species should understand. At first, nothing happened. Then the object began to pulse with brighter blue light. It's responding, Captain. It's sending back the same mathematical sequence, but with additions. It's completing the patterns I sent, Amy said with excitement. That proves it's intelligent, or at least has intelligent programming, Jake said. All right, Tony, bring it aboard. But do it slowly and carefully. Put it in Cargo Bay 2 and seal that section off from the rest of the ship. It took an hour to safely bring the alien object inside the Pathfinder. Once it was secured in the cargo bay, Jake and his crew gathered to examine it more closely. The object was even more impressive up close. The symbols covering its surface seemed to move and change when they looked at them. Captain, this is amazing, Lisa said, studying her scanner readings. The internal structure is incredibly complex. There are systems inside this thing that I can't even understand. Tony was running safety scans. It's not giving off any dangerous radiation. Whatever it's made of, it's safe to be around. Amy was still monitoring the signals. Captain, those other signals I detected earlier? They're all getting stronger. It's like our presence here has woken something up. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. What do you mean? I mean there are now at least 12 different signal sources out there, all just outside our scanner range. And they're all pointed at us, Amy said, her voice showing her worry. Lisa ran new scans of the area around them. She's right, Captain. There's definitely something out there. Multiple somethings. They're staying just far enough away that we can barely detect them. Jake realized they might not be alone in this part of space after all. Whatever this object was, their discovery of it had gotten attention from others who were watching. Can you tell if they're ships? He asked Lisa. They're big enough to be ships, really big ships. Much bigger than the Pathfinder, she replied. Tony moved to the weapons control station. Captain, should I power up our defensive systems? Not yet. If they wanted to attack us, they probably would have done it already. They seem to be watching and waiting, Jake said, trying to stay calm. Amy looked up from her station with wide eyes. Captain, the alien object is doing something new. It's projecting some kind of holographic display. They all turned to look at the monitor showing the cargo bay. Above the alien object, a three-dimensional map appeared in the air. It showed star systems, planets, and what looked like travel routes connecting them. But something about the map was very strange. Lisa, does that look familiar to you? Jake asked. Lisa studied the holographic map carefully. Her face went pale. Captain, that's a map of this entire sector of the galaxy, but look at these routes. They show pathways between star systems, trade routes maybe, but every single route stops at the edge of human space. None of them go beyond our territory. That can't be right, Tony said. There has to be space beyond human territory. There's space beyond our territory, Lisa said quietly. But according to this map, no one travels there. It's like there's an invisible wall around all of human space, and nothing crosses it. Jake stared at the holographic map, feeling a growing sense of unease. They had come out here looking for new worlds for humanity to explore. Instead, they had found evidence that humanity might already be trapped in a cage they didn't even know existed. Amy, keep monitoring those signals. If whoever is watching us makes any move, I want to know immediately, Jake ordered. Yes, sir, Amy replied, her fingers flying over her controls. Jake knew their simple exploration mission had just become something much more complicated and possibly dangerous. The map showed that someone had been watching human space for a very long time. The question now was who they were and what they wanted. The alien object continued to pulse with blue light, as if it was waiting for them to understand its message. Outside in the darkness, unknown watchers continued their silent vigil, waiting to see what the humans would do next. Admiral Helen Parker sat in the briefing room at Earth Defense Command, staring at the data that Captain Morrison had sent back from the Pathfinder. The holographic star map floated above the conference table, showing the strange routes that all stopped at the edges of human territory. Around the table sat the most important people in human space defense. This changes everything we thought we knew about our position in the galaxy, Admiral Parker said. She was a woman in her 50s with gray hair and steel blue eyes. She had Been in charge of Earth's defense for 8 years and had never seen anything like this before? Carl Washington, the director of Colonial Intelligence, leaned forward to study the map more closely. He was a thin man with dark skin and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Admiral, my teams have been going through our historical records since we received this data. We found some very disturbing patterns. What kind of patterns? Asked Dr. Susan Miller, the head of the Xenorchaeology department. She was a small woman with brown hair who spent most of her time studying alien artifacts and ancient civilizations. Carl activated his datapad and new information appeared on the main screen. Over the past 50 years, we have had 17 major exploration missions that were forced to turn back due to what we called natural obstacles. Radiation storms, unstable star systems, equipment failures. We always assumed it was just bad luck. But now you think it was something else? Admiral Parker asked. I think someone has been very carefully guiding our expansion, Carl replied. Look at this timeline. Every time we tried to push beyond certain boundaries, something happened to stop us. The timing is too perfect to be coincidence. Dr. Miller pulled up her own research on a side screen. I've been studying the alien probe that Captain Morrison found. The technology is incredibly advanced, but what's really interesting is how old it is. Carbon dating suggests it's been out there for over 200 years. 200 years? Admiral Parker said with surprise. That's almost as long as humans have been traveling in space. Exactly, Dr. Miller continued. Someone placed that probe there right around the time we first left Earth's solar system. It's like they knew we would eventually find it. Carl stood up and walked to the main display. There's more. My intelligence teams have been analyzing communication patterns from our deep space monitoring stations. We found weak signals that match what Captain Morrison's crew detected. These signals have been there for decades, but we always dismiss them as background noise. How many signals? Admiral Parker asked. At least 30 different sources, all positioned just outside our detection range. They form a complete circle around human space, Carl said grimly. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. The idea that humanity had been watched and contained for so long was hard to accept. Commander Ben Richards, who ran the Deep Space Monitoring Network, spoke up. Admiral, I've ordered all our border stations to increase their sensor sweeps. Station Alpha 7 reported something strange yesterday. What did they find? Admiral Parker asked. Energy readings that were much stronger than usual. Commander Richards activated a wall screen that showed sensor data from the monitoring station. These spikes happened at the exact same time in 3 different locations along our border. It's like someone was testing our detection capabilities. Lieutenant Kate Nelson, who worked at one of the border stations, had been brought to Earth specifically for this meeting. She was young, maybe 30, with short black hair and nervous energy. Admiral, my station has been picking up movement just beyond our scanner range for the past week. Whatever is out there, it's getting bolder. Dr. Miller looked thoughtful. Or maybe they want us to notice them now. The probe Captain Morrison found could have been a signal to the Watchers that we're ready for the next phase. The next phase of what? Admiral Parker asked. Contact, Dr. Miller said simply. Carl brought up another display showing shipping routes and colony locations. Admiral, I recommend we put all border colonies on alert. If someone has been controlling our expansion, they might not be happy that we found their probe. Agreed, Admiral Parker said. Commander Richards, I want every monitoring station to go to maximum alert. If anything moves out there, I want to know about it immediately. Yes, ma'am, Commander Richards replied 3 days later. Lieutenant Kate Nelson was working the night shift at Border Station, Omega 12, when her sensors detected something that made her blood run cold. She immediately contacted her supervisor and then called Earth directly. Admiral Parker, this is Lieutenant Nelson at Omega 12. You need to see this right away. Kate said over the communication link. What have you found, Lieutenant? Admiral Parker asked. She had been sleeping, but alerts from the border stations went directly to her personal communicator. Ma'am, we have multiple large objects moving toward our position. They're still outside our territory, but they're much closer than anything we've detected before. And Admiral, these things are huge. Admiral Parker was fully awake now. How huge? Each one is at least 10 times the size of our largest battleship. There are 12 of them in a formation, just sitting there at the edge of our space, Kate reported. Are they showing any hostile intentions? Admiral Parker asked. Not yet, ma'am. They're just waiting. But, Admiral, there's something else. They're broadcasting a signal directly at us. Admiral Parker felt her heart racing. What kind of signal? It's mathematical, like the sequence Captain Morrison's crew used to communicate with the alien probe. But this signal is much more complex. It includes star charts and what looks like a meeting request. A meeting request? Admiral Parker said with surprise, double quotes, yes, ma'am. The signal includes coordinates for a location in neutral space, halfway between their position and ours. And Admiral, they're asking for our most senior diplomatic representative to meet them there in 72 hours. Admiral Parker closed her eyes and took a deep breath. This was the moment that would change everything for humanity. Lieutenant, continue monitoring but take no aggressive action. I'm calling an emergency session of the Defense Council. 4 hours later, Admiral Parker stood before the assembled leaders of human space. The situation had become even more complex since Lieutenant Nelson's first report. The alien ships are now positioned at 17 different points around our entire territory, Carl Washington reported. They all arrived at the same time and are maintaining the same distance from our borders. Dr. Miller had been studying the mathematical signals. The communication is incredibly sophisticated. They're not just asking for a meeting. They're providing U.S. with translation protocols and safe passage guarantees. This is a formal first contact request. What do we know about their technology? Admiral Parker asked. Commander Richards pulled up sensor data from multiple monitoring stations. Their ships use propulsion systems we don't understand. They appeared at their positions without any detectable acceleration or deceleration. They just materialized there. Could they be hostile? Asked General Frank Taylor, the head of Colonial Defense Forces. If they wanted to attack us, they probably could have done it already, Carl pointed out. Their technology is clearly more advanced than ours. The fact that they're asking for a meeting suggests they want to talk, not fight. Dr. Miller looked worried. But we have to consider why they're revealing themselves now. They've been watching us for 2 centuries. Something has changed to make them decide that hiding is no longer necessary. Admiral Parker studied the alien signal on the main screen. The mathematical patterns were beautiful and complex, showing an intelligence that was clearly superior to human knowledge in many areas. We have to respond, she said finally. This is the most important moment in human history. We can't ignore it. Who do we send? Carl asked. I'll go myself, Admiral Parker replied. If this goes badly, the responsibility should be mine. Admiral, that's too dangerous, General Taylor protested. Maybe, but it's also too important to trust to anyone else, Admiral Parker said firmly. Prepare the fastest diplomatic ship we have. Dr. Miller, I want you to come with me as our expert on alien civilizations. Carl, you'll coordinate intelligence gathering while we're gone. As the meeting ended and everyone left to prepare for humanity's first official contact with an alien civilization, Admiral Parker stood alone looking at the star map. The routes that stopped at human borders suddenly made sense. They had never been trade routes at all. They were patrol routes, marking the boundaries of humanity's cage. Captain Ryan Foster stood on the bridge of the UHS Vanguard, watching the coordinates where they were supposed to meet the aliens. The Vanguard was the fastest ship in the human fleet, built for diplomatic missions and equipped with the best communication systems available. Admiral Parker had chosen it specifically for this historic meeting. We're approaching the meeting coordinates, Admiral, Ryan said to Admiral Parker, who stood beside him studying the empty space ahead. Dr. Miller was at a nearby station, monitoring her equipment for any signs of alien technology. I don't see anything yet, said Sam Jackson, the ship's pilot. He was a young man with steady hands and sharp eyes who had flown Admiral Parker safely through dangerous situations before. They'll be here, Dr. Miller said confidently. The mathematical precision of their communication suggests they keep their appointments. Science Officer Maria Gonzalez looked up from her sensor station. Admiral, I'm detecting a massive energy buildup directly ahead of us. Something big is about to happen. Suddenly, space in front of them began to shimmer and bend. A huge structure materialized out of nowhere, appearing as if it had always been there. It was unlike anything humans had ever built. The alien construct was enormous, easily 50 times larger than the Vanguard, and it glowed with soft silver light. By all the stars, Ryan whispered. How did they do that? Their technology is far beyond ours, Dr. Miller said, taking readings as fast as she could. The energy required to make something that large just appears incredible. Admiral Parker felt her heart beating fast, but she kept her voice calm. Sam, take us to a safe distance and hold position. Maria, scan that structure and tell me what you find. Yes, ma'am, Maria replied, working at her controls. Admiral, the structure is artificial, but it's not a ship. It looks like a meeting facility built specifically for this encounter. They built a space station just for us? Sam asked with amazement. It appears so, Dr. Miller said. This shows remarkable preparation and planning. A new voice suddenly filled the bridge. It spoke in perfect English, though there was something strange about the way the words were formed. Human Vessel Vanguard, you are welcome. Please approach our facility and prepare for transfer of your diplomatic party. Admiral Parker stepped forward. This is Admiral Helen Parker of the United Earth Defense Forces. We accept your invitation. To meet, Admiral Parker, you and 2 companions may board our facility. Your ship will remain safe in this location. Do you accept these terms? Admiral Parker looked at Dr. Miller and Captain Foster. I'll go with Dr. Miller and Captain Foster. The rest of you stay with the ship and monitor everything that happens. Admiral, are you sure about this? Ryan asked quietly. We came here to make contact. We can't do that from a distance, Admiral Parker replied. A beam of light appeared between the Vanguard and the alien structure. Please enter the transport beam when ready, the alien voice said. The 3 humans stepped into the light and felt a strange, tingling sensation. A moment later, they found themselves standing in a large circular room inside the alien facility. The walls were smooth and seemed to glow with their own light. The air was comfortable to breathe and felt exactly like the air on their ship. Welcome, humans, said a voice from everywhere and nowhere at once. 3 beings materialized in front of them. They were tall and thin, with skin that seemed to change color slightly as they moved. Their faces were similar to human faces, but with larger eyes and smaller features. They wore simple robes that moved as if blown by a wind that wasn't there. I am Keeper Valdris, said the center being. These are Keeper Nothan and Keeper Yelan. We represent the Shepherd Coalition. Admiral Parker stepped forward. I'm Admiral Helen Parker. This is Dr. Susan Miller and Captain Ryan Foster. We represent humanity. We know who you are, Admiral Parker. We have been watching your species for many of your lifetimes, Keeper Valdris said. His voice was calm, but there was something sad about it. You've been watching us? Dr. Miller asked. For how long? Keeper Nothan answered. Since your people first left the world you call Earth, we have observed your expansion, your growth, your wars, and your achievements. Why? Admiral Parker asked directly. The 3 keepers looked at each other before Keeper Valdris spoke again. Because your species is unique, Admiral Parker, and because uniqueness in the galaxy often leads to great danger. Captain Foster stepped forward. What kind of danger? Keeper Yelan spoke for the first time. The danger that comes from rapid expansion without wisdom. The danger of species that grow too fast and consume too much. The danger of wars that spread across star systems. Are you saying we're dangerous? Admiral Parker asked, feeling anger, rising her voice. We are saying you have the potential to be very dangerous, Keeper Valdris replied. Your species combines rapid technological advancement with aggressive territorial expansion. In our experience, such combinations often lead to galactic conflicts. Dr. Miller looked thoughtful. So you've been containing us, keeping us in a limited area of space. We have been protecting you, Keeper Nothin corrected. And protecting others from potential conflicts with your expanding civilization. Protecting us from what? Captain Foster asked. Keeper Valdris gestured and the walls of the room became transparent, showing views of space beyond. But this space was filled with ships. Thousands of ships of different designs and sizes, all arranged in formation around the meeting facility. From the consequences of uncontrolled expansion, Keeper Valdris said, there are 12 major civilizations in this part of the galaxy, Admiral Parker. Some have been traveling between stars for thousands of years, longer than humans have existed. All of them have learned through experience that rapid expansion leads to conflict. Admiral Parker stared at the massive fleet surrounding them. Those are all different species? Correct. The Shepherd Coalition includes representatives from 12 advanced civilizations. We work together to maintain peace and stability throughout this galactic region, Keeper Yulan explained. And part of maintaining peace is keeping humans locked up? Admiral Parker asked, her anger growing stronger. Part of maintaining peace is allowing young civilizations to develop wisdom before they encounter older, more established species, Keeper Valdris said patiently. Dr. Miller studied the alien ships visible through the walls. How many species have you contained like this? Over the past 10,000 years, 47 developing civilizations have been given protected space to grow and mature. Of those, 31 eventually joined the galactic community as peaceful trading partners, Keeper Nothin answered. What happened to the other 16? Captain Foster asked quietly. The three keepers were silent for a moment. Then Keeper Valdris spoke softly. 16 chose conflict over cooperation. They broke their containment through force and attempted to expand aggressively into areas already occupied by other species. And, Admiral Parker demanded. And they no longer exist, Keeper Yulan said simply. The room fell silent as the humans absorbed this information. They were not just contained, they were being tested. And the consequences of failing the test were clear. What exactly are you offering us? Admiral Parker asked. Keeper Valdris stepped forward. We are offering your species a choice, Admiral Parker. You may accept permanent boundaries for human expansion in exchange for technology sharing, trade agreements, and peaceful contact with other galactic civilizations. You would become a protected member of the galactic community. And if we refuse? Captain Foster asked. If you refuse, you are free to attempt expansion beyond your current boundaries, Keeper Nothin said. But you will do so without protection. And you will face whatever consequences result from contact with other species who may not be as patient as we have been. Dr. Miller looked at the massive fleet surrounding them. How long do we have to decide? Your species has been developing for over 2 centuries in protected space. We believe you are mature enough to make this choice now, Keeper Valdris said. We will give you 30 of your days to discuss this among your people and provide us with an answer. Admiral Parker felt the weight of the entire human race on her shoulders. The choice was simple but terrible: accept permanent limitations in exchange for safety and advancement, or risk everything for the freedom to expand without limits. We need to return to our people, she said. Of course, Keeper Valdris agreed. But before you go, you should understand one more thing, Admiral Parker. What's that? Your species has already surprised us in several ways. Your technological advancement has exceeded our predictions. Your social development has been more rapid than we expected. And your discovery of our observation probe was accomplished much sooner than we anticipated. Is that good or bad? Dr. Miller asked. That remains to be seen, Keeper Yulan said. But it suggests that humanity may be more adaptable than the other species we have guided. The 3 humans found themselves back on the Vanguard moments later, the alien facility disappearing as quickly as it had appeared. Admiral Parker stood on the bridge, knowing that she carried the most important decision in human history back to Earth. Set course for home, Captain, she said quietly. We have a choice to make. Admiral Parker sat in the emergency meeting room at Earth Defense Command, surrounded by the most important leaders in human space. The debate had been going on for 3 days since her return from the alien meeting, and no one could agree on what humanity should do. "We can't accept their offer," said General Frank Taylor, slamming his hand on the table. "They're asking us to give up our freedom to explore and expand. That goes against everything humans believe in. And if we refuse, they might destroy us," replied Peter Brooks, the strategic analyst who had been studying the alien technology data. "Did you see the size of their fleet? We can't fight ships that can appear and disappear at will." Linda Scott, the head of the diplomatic corps, looked tired from the long discussions. "There has to be a middle ground, some way to negotiate better terms." "The keepers were very clear," Admiral Parker said. "Accept containment or face the consequences of expansion. They've given this same choice to 47 other species over 10,000 years. Dr. Miller pulled up holographic displays showing the alien ships they had encountered. "We need to consider what we learned about their technology. They're clearly more advanced than us, but there were some interesting details in the scans we took." "What kind of details?" asked Peter Brooks. "Their ships use energy field technology for both propulsion and defense. The fields that keep us contained are the same type of energy that powers their vessels," Dr. Miller explained. At the Advanced Weapons Research Division, Chief Tactical Officer Dan Cooper had been working with a team of scientists since Admiral Parker's return. Don was a serious man with gray hair who had spent his career developing new weapons for human defense. What his team had discovered could change everything. "Admiral, you need to see what we've found," Don said over the communication link from his laboratory. "What is it, Don?" Admiral Parker asked. "The probe that Captain Morrison found has been very helpful. We've been studying its energy patterns and comparing them to the scans your team made of the alien facility. We think we've figured out how their containment field works." Admiral Parker felt a spark of hope. "Go on. The field that surrounds human space isn't just a barrier. It's more like a bubble made of concentrated energy. The same energy that powers their ships. If we could find a way to disrupt that energy, we might be able to break through," Don explained. General Taylor leaned forward with interest. "Are you saying we could fight our way out?" "I'm saying we might have more options than just surrender or suicide," Don replied. "But Admiral, there's something else, something that might be even more important." "What?" "We think the energy field can be reversed. Instead of keeping things in, it could be used to keep things out. If we could take control of their own containment system, we could trap their ships inside the field with us." The room fell silent as everyone understood what Don was suggesting. They might be able to turn the aliens' own technology against them. "How long would it take to develop this capability?" Admiral Parker asked. "We're already working on it. Give US 2 weeks, and we'll have a prototype device ready for testing." 3 days later, Captain Morrison and his crew were back in space aboard the upgraded Liberty. The ship had been fitted with the experimental field disruptor that Don Cooper's team had developed. With him were engineer Frank Taylor, a young man who specialized in new technology, and medical officer Rebecca White, who was there in case they encountered other species during their mission. "Captain, we're approaching the test coordinates," said Frank from his engineering station. "The field disruptor is ready to deploy." Jake looked at the empty space ahead of them. "According to their calculations, there should be an invisible barrier here that marked the edge of human space. Rebecca, are you picking up any signs of the Watchers?" "Nothing yet, Captain. But if we're right about this, they'll know what we're doing as soon as we activate the disruptor," Rebecca replied from her station. "All right, Frank, let's see if this thing works." Frank activated the field disruptor. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then space in front of them began to shimmer and bend, just like when the alien facility had appeared. But instead of something materializing, something became visible that had always been there. "Captain, look at this," Rebecca said with amazement. "There's a wall out there, an actual energy wall surrounding our entire territory." Jake stared at the massive barrier that now glowed with visible energy. It stretched as far as their sensors could reach in every direction. "How thick is it?" "About 50 kilometers thick. And completely solid. Nothing could pass through this without the right technology, Frank reported. Can we break through it? Jake asked. Frank studied his readings. I think so, Captain. The disruptor is weakening the field structure. But, Captain, we're getting company. 3 alien ships had appeared near the Liberty. They were smaller than the massive vessels that had surrounded the meeting facility, but they were still much larger than any human ship. Human vessel, you are in violation of the territorial agreement. Cease your activities immediately and return. To your designated space, came a voice over their communications. Jake activated the ship's communication system. This is Captain Morrison of the UHS Liberty. We haven't agreed to any territorial limits. We're free to travel wherever we choose. You are testing technology that threatens the stability of the containment field. This cannot be permitted, the alien voice replied. Then stop us, Jake said boldly. The alien ships moved closer, but they didn't attack. Instead, they seemed to be scanning the Liberty and the field disruptor. Captain, I'm reading some very interesting energy patterns from those ships, Frank sighed quietly. Their defensive fields are using the same energy frequency as the containment barrier. What does that mean? Jake asked. It means our disruptor should work on their ships too, Frank replied with excitement. Before Jake could respond, more human ships appeared around them. Admiral Parker had sent an entire fleet to support the Liberty's mission. Ships commanded by Captain Alex Turner, Commander Julia Martinez, and Captain Steve Wilson took positions around the alien vessels. This is Admiral Parker to all human ships. We are not looking for a fight, but we will defend our right to travel freely. Admiral Parker's voice came over the fleet communication channel. The alien ships found themselves surrounded by 20 human vessels, all equipped with the new field disruptor technology. Human Admiral, you do not understand the consequences of your actions, the lead alien ship transmitted. Then explain them to us, Admiral Parker replied from her flagship. The containment field maintains the balance of power in this region of space. If you disrupt it, you will alert other civilizations to your presence. Some of those civilizations are not as patient as the Shepherd Coalition. On the Liberty, Frank was studying the energy readings from the alien ships. Captain, I'm detecting something interesting. Their ship's power systems are fluctuating. Our disruptors are affecting them even when we're not targeting them directly. Are you saying we're disrupting their ships just by being here? Jake asked. That's exactly what I'm saying. The energy field that powers their technology is being interfered with by our disruptors. Jake realized that humanity had stumbled onto something very important. The aliens' advanced technology had a weakness that humans could exploit. Admiral Parker, this is Captain Morrison. You need to know that our disruptors are affecting their ship's power systems. Their technology isn't as invulnerable as they want us to believe. Understood, Captain. All ships maintain your positions but do not fire unless fired upon. Admiral Parker commanded. The standoff continued for several hours. More alien ships arrived, but so did more human vessels. The space around the containment barrier became filled with ships from both sides. Finally, a new voice came over the communication channels. I am Keeper Valdris. Admiral Parker, you have surprised us again? How so, Keeper Valdris? Admiral Parker replied. Your species has developed technology in ways we did not predict. Your approach to the containment field problem is unique among the species we have encountered. Does that change anything? Admiral Parker asked. It changes everything, Admiral. We request another meeting. But this time the terms will be very different. Jake looked at the alien ships around them, knowing that humanity had just passed some kind of test they didn't even know they were taking. The field disruptors had done more than just threaten the containment barrier. They had shown the aliens that humans could think in ways that other species could not. Admiral, should we power down the disruptors? Frank asked. Not yet, Jake replied. Let's see what kind of new terms they want to discuss. In space around them, human and alien ships waited to see what would happen next. The balance of power had shifted, and everyone knew that the galaxy would never be the same. The second meeting with the Shepherd Coalition took place in a different location this time. Instead of the aliens building a facility, both sides met at a space station that humans and aliens built together in just 2 days. Admiral Parker was amazed at how quickly they could work together when they needed to. She entered the meeting chamber with Dr. Miller and Captain Morrison. The room was designed with both human and alien technology, creating a space that felt comfortable for everyone. Keeper Valdris was there again, but this time he was joined by representatives from all 12 species in the coalition. Admiral Parker, your species continues to surprise us, Keeper Valdris said as the meeting began. In our 10,000 years of guiding developing civilizations, none have ever found a way to disrupt the containment field. We don't like being told what we can't do, Admiral Parker replied simply. A new alien stepped forward. This one was tall and blue with 4 arms and large black eyes. I am Speaker Thane of the Crystalline Confederation. Your field disruptor technology is remarkable. How did you develop it so quickly? Dr. Miller answered, We studied the probe that Captain Morrison found. Your own technology taught us how to build our disruptors. Impossible, said another alien, this one small and covered in what looked like metal scales. The probe was designed to provide basic star charts, not reveal technical specifications. Captain Morrison smiled. You didn't count on human curiosity. We took apart every piece of data in that probe and figured out how it worked. Then we reverse-engineered your energy field technology. Keeper Valdris looked troubled. This changes much of what we believed about your species' capabilities. What did you believe? Admiral Parker asked. We believed humans were like the other aggressive species we have encountered. Strong but predictable. Good at fighting but poor at innovation. Under pressure, Keeper Valdris explained. A different alien spoke up. This one looked almost human except for golden skin and silver hair. I am Counselor Zara of the Vorthan Republic. We have been observing human behavior for 2 centuries. Your species does not follow the patterns we expected. What patterns? Dr. Miller asked. Most aggressive species, when contained, either accept limitation or attempt to break free through pure force. You found a third option that we did not consider possible, Counselor Zara explained. Admiral Parker felt curious. What third option? You turned our own technology against us while simultaneously offering to work with us, Keeper Valdris said. Your fleet could have attacked our ships when you discovered their vulnerability. Instead, you waited to see what we would do, Captain Morrison nodded. We're not looking for a war. We just want the freedom to explore. And that desire for exploration. Without conquest is what makes your species unique, said another alien. This one was tall and thin with transparent skin that showed flowing lights underneath. I am Navigator Quinn of the Ethereal Collective. My people have watched many species expand across the galaxy. Most expand to conquer, you expand to discover. Does that change anything? Admiral Parker asked. Keeper Valdris looked at his fellow coalition members. They seemed to be communicating without speaking, perhaps through some form of telepathy. It changes everything, Keeper Valdris said finally. We wish to propose a new agreement. What kind of agreement? Admiral Parker asked. Speaker Thane stepped forward. Rather than containment, we offer partnership. Your species would become the 13th member of the Shepherd Coalition. What would that mean? Dr. Miller asked. It would mean freedom to explore beyond your current boundaries, but with guidance and support from species who have been traveling the galaxy much longer than humans, Counselor Zara explained. And what would be our responsibilities? Admiral Parker asked carefully. You would help us guide other developing species just as we have guided you. Your unique approach to problem-solving could be valuable in dealing with future civilizations. Navigator Quinn said. Captain Morrison looked skeptical. So instead of being contained, we become the containers? You become teachers and protectors, Keeper Valdris corrected. But only for species that need guidance. Many civilizations develop peacefully and never require intervention. Admiral Parker studied the 12 alien representatives. What about the species that don't want guidance? The ones that choose conflict? Those situations require careful handling, Speaker Thane said. Your field disruptor technology, combined with our experience, could provide better solutions than simple containment or destruction. We're offering you something that has never been offered to a species as young as yours, Counselor Zara added. Full membership in the galactic community with all the rights and responsibilities that come with it. Dr. Miller looked excited. What would we learn? What technologies would be shared with us? Everything, Navigator Quinn said simply. Faster than light travel that doesn't require the jump gates you currently use? Energy systems that could power entire star systems. Medical technology that could extend human life by centuries? And in return? Admiral Parker asked. In return, you share your greatest gift with the galaxy, Keeper Valdres said. What gift is that? Captain Morrison asked. The ability to find new solutions to old problems. Every species in the Coalition has contributed something unique. The Crystalline Confederation gave us advanced mathematics. The Vorthan Republic provided stellar engineering. The Ethereal Collective shared consciousness expansion technology. What would humans contribute? Admiral Parker asked. Innovation. Under pressure, creative problem solving. The ability to turn disadvantages into advantages, Keeper Valdres explained. Your species has shown all of these traits in just a few weeks. Admiral Parker felt the weight of the decision, but this time it felt different. Instead of choosing between freedom and safety, humanity was being offered both. We'll need to discuss this with our people, she said. Of course, Keeper Valdres agreed. But Admiral, you should know that this offer comes with one condition. What? Condition? If humanity joins the Coalition, the containment field around your space will be removed. But it will be replaced with something else. What? Captain Morrison asked with concern. A beacon, Navigator Quinn explained. A signal that announces to the entire galaxy that humans are under the protection of the Shepherd Coalition. Any species that attacks humanity would be declaring war on all 13 Coalition members. That sounds like a good thing, Dr. Miller said. It is a good thing, Counselor Zara agreed. But it also means that humanity's isolation is over forever. You will become part of galactic civilization with all the benefits and challenges that brings. Admiral Parker looked at Captain Morrison and Dr. Miller. She could see the excitement in their eyes. This was what humanity had always dreamed of, a place among the stars as equals, not prisoners. How long do we have to decide? She asked. Take all the time you need, Keeper Valdres said. But Admiral, while you are deciding, we have a gift for you. What kind of gift? Speaker Thane gestured and a new star chart appeared in the air above them. But this chart was different from the one in the alien probe. This one showed routes that extended far beyond human space, connecting star systems across vast distances. These are the real trade routes of the galaxy, Speaker Thane said. The ones that your species will have access to as Coalition members. Admiral Parker stared at the vast network of connections between stars. It was beautiful and terrifying. At the same time, how big is it? The current Coalition territory includes over 10,000 star systems and 40 billion inhabited worlds, Navigator Quinn said. And this would all be open to human exploration? Captain Morrison asked with amazement. Every system, every world, every species that chooses to interact with Coalition members. Keeper Valdres confirmed. Dr. Miller looked at the star chart with wonder. We go from being alone in the galaxy to being part of the largest civilization in known space. The choice is yours, Admiral Parker, Keeper Valdres said. But we hope you will choose to join us. The galaxy needs the unique perspective that humanity can provide. Admiral Parker took a deep breath. We'll give you our answer in 1 week. As the humans returned to their ship, Admiral Parker knew what the answer would be. Humanity had always been explorers. The idea of having an entire galaxy to explore, with friends and allies to help them do it safely, was too good to pass up. A week later, the containment field around human space was removed for the first time in 2 centuries. In its place, a beacon began broadcasting humanity's new status as the 13th member of the Shepherd Coalition. Captain Morrison stood on the bridge of the Liberty. looking at star charts that showed routes extending beyond human space for the first time in his life. The routes had always been there, waiting. They just hadn't been ready to travel them until now. "Where to first, Captain?" asked Frank Taylor. "Everywhere," Morrison replied with a smile. "We have a whole galaxy to explore." The title of their adventure had been proven true. No routes had gone beyond human space, and it hadn't been an accident. But now the routes were open, and humanity was ready to travel them as equals among the stars.